Hey, Cade Brewster here, founder of Brewster Consulting Group. Today I'm going to share with you 5 operating tenets that I believe in. If you run or lead a business, you should operate with these things in mind. Tenet number 1, data driven action. I believe in that. Now, saying we're data driven is a buzzword for people out there, right? But most people aren't actually data driven. What being truly data driven means is it means you have a data environment that gives you the information that you need and you make better and different decisions than you would have without that data, right? That's the whole value in the data, is that it drives you to make better, different decisions than you would have if you didn't have the data. Most people who say they are data driven, what they actually do is they go with their gut and then they look for data that validates what they did, right? Or they have already in their head made a decision. They're looking for an excuse. And so they look for data that will give them that excuse to make that decision. They're not actually letting the data lead them to the decision. I believe to be as effective as possible leading a business, true data driven action, meaning you let the data lead you to a decision, is a very important core tenet. So that's number 1. Number 2, the devil's in the details. Most leaders, or just people in general, don't want to get into the granularity of work. The problem is that in the granularity is where things are successful or where they fail. If you're doing a system implementation, you have to get into the granularity of the data mappings and the workflows in order to get it right. If you are doing a major data effort, you have to get into the granularity of data definitions and arguing over your data dictionary terms and your core metrics and your sources of truth for those core metrics if you want to get it right. A lot of times the stuff that's not fun, the stuff that people don't want to get into, is what makes the difference between success and failure, and that is in the granularity. So the devil is always in the details. You have to be willing to dive into it if you want to be successful. That's number 2. Core tenet number 3 for running a business. Technology is awesome, but technology should enable the business, not dictate to the business. So you should not design your business to fit any type of technology. Technology, I'm going to say it again, technology should enable the business, not dictate to the business. So you absolutely should use technology. Technology is awesome. Technology can increase your efficiency, capacity, your ability to deliver exponentially, especially some of the emerging technologies like AI that are coming out. It's awesome. But technology should enable the business, not the other way around. And that's important to remember because a lot of times people get caught up with the shiny, flashy tech, and then they try to fit their business to the tech. That is not how it should work. It should go the other way. The technology should enable the business. Number 4, learn to block and tackle first. What does that mean? Well, it's a football analogy, right? If you start playing Pee Wee football and you go out and it's your first day of like 3rd, 4th grade Pee Wee football, they don't teach you to run the triple option on day 1, right? That's not how it works. They don't start teaching you the route tree as a wide receiver on day 1. They teach you first how to hit properly, how to keep your eyes up so you don't break your neck, right? How to tackle, and they teach you how to block. And then they evolve into concepts like a pass drop or properly catching with your hands instead of looking it into your body, right? Or whatever it is, right? But you start with the fundamentals. And this is true in any sport, right? We all kind of know it. In basketball, you start with your shooting stroke and how to dribble before you start in installing the triangle and 2, right? That's just how it works. That's true with business too. You have to do the fundamentals right. You have to be mature in your fundamentals before you try to do the more advanced stuff. In business, people get caught up with the flashy new thing, whether it's the technology, whether it's the framework, whether it's the mind mapping, whatever it is, right? The automation, like there's all these buzzwords, all these things that get a lot of flash and a lot of press and a lot of, you go to a conference and the same 12 different people are talking about the same thing. It happens all the time. Business leaders come back and they get obsessed with those things and they want to do them. You have to block and tackle first. You have to do the fundamentals effectively if you want to mature into getting an actual ROI on those higher level initiatives. So that's number 4, block and tackle first. And number 5, and I think this is important for everyone to know. I read an article the other day. It's about a new study about how much dumber AI is making college students. They don't know how to think anymore. They outsourced all to AI, right? So here's my core tenet around AI and business. AI will make smart people and smart companies 10 times smarter, and it will make dumb people and dumb companies 10 times dumber. Now, what do I mean by this? So, AI for an intelligent company and an intelligent person, if used correctly with the right context and the right data structures, can exponentially increase not only your capacity, but also your capabilities. You could take somebody who is pretty skilled in one area and make them an absolute expert in that area. You can take somebody who is an amateur, but smart enough to understand the concepts and allow them to accomplish or have the skill set of a senior level person, right? But you cannot outsource your thinking to it. And that is where it'll make dumb people 10 times dumber. It is not good enough on its own without proper context, without proper data structures, and without an intelligence driver right now to produce smart business level stuff. You have to be intelligent with the way that you interact. You have to give it proper context. You have to give it good data. You have to be smart with the way that you use AI, and you have to still think, right? You need to be having like an intellectual back and forth with the AI that you're working with in order to expand your capacities. I have caught myself a number of times. I'll be like working on something, maybe I'm writing code for something, right? And I'm working on it and I get lazy. And so I'll just like ask ChatGPT or Claude or whichever one I'm using to provide a snippet of code for me and it doesn't work. And I'll just like tell it it didn't work. And then I'll go through this cycle of like it not working. I tell it it didn't work like 10 times. Finally, I stop being lazy and I read it and I realize, oh, here's the error. And then I tell it, hey, this is what's going on. You should probably try this. And then it gives me new code with my suggestion. And now all of a sudden it works, right? Because I actually intellectually went in there and looked at it. And I have to check myself. I have to make myself not get lazy in those interactions because it's so easy. It makes you want to just not even think, like just say, like, give me the information that I need. I don't even have to think about this. But the people who do that will get dumber and their work product will get worse and their companies will perform worse. But the people who can force themselves and continue to work smart with AI will massively expand their capacity and their capabilities. And let me make one clarifying point here. I'm not just saying like on an IQ scale, people who are smart will get smarter with AI and people who are dumb will get dumb with AI. That's not what I'm saying. It's more about how you use it. There's plenty of high IQ smart people who will get dumber because they get lazy, as I was describing, like I was trying to do it before I had to check myself, right? And there are plenty of maybe lower on the IQ people who will get way smarter because they force themselves to think as they interact with this, right? And that's how it's going to go. The people who are smart and intentional with how they use AI will win the next 5 to 10 years. And the people who are not will fail epically from a performance perspective because their work product will get worse because they are not personally developing themselves. In fact, if anything, they're regressing because they're outsourcing much of their own progress to the AI. So those are my 5 core tenets for operating a business. Take data-driven action. The devil's in the details. Technology should enable the business, not the other way around. Learn to block and tackle first, And then, yes, embrace AI, but no, AI will make smart people 10 times smarter and dumb people 10 times dumber. Be intentional and smart about how you use and interact with it. Thanks for listening.